Hey everybody, I'm Bianca Lager, the former president and CEO of Social Intelligence, a company where I lovingly led a highly productive team as a C-suite of one for over 7 years. Now, I successfully sold that company in 2023, and now I get to focus on my work as a keynote speaker and an online course creator. I have already successfully taught over 130,000 learners executive business skills. Now, through my brand new program, Executive Automations, I guide small business owners and operators through a step-by-step process to automate your executive leadership skills. And that translates to sales growth and executing efficient operations and product strategy. Now, these systems will free up your time by teaching you how to relentlessly prioritize. So welcome to Inbox Zero. Here, I provide free business advice on how to automate and elevate the decisions clogging up your mental inbox. So let's get started. Okay, we're diving in to the question of the week. Here it is. I founded my digital marketing agency 5 years ago with boundless enthusiasm. Oh, don't we all, sweetie? But lately, I've been dragging myself to work and feeling indifferent about our success. Despite having a team of 8 great people and a solid client base, I procrastinate on important tasks, and I question if this is what I want to do long term. The daily grind of managing employees, handling different clients, and keeping up with industry trends feels overwhelming to me. And I'm worried my lack of enthusiasm will affect team morale. I'm feeling burnt out and losing passion for my business. How can I reignite my entrepreneurial spirit? Oh my goodness. I feel like this is so relatable, not just for entrepreneurs, but for anybody really who's like, this was my dream career. You know, I studied all this time. I went to law school and like, here I am, I'm a lawyer. And now I'm so burnt out. I'm so tired. But especially true for business owners. And, you know, I think somebody who's really created any measure of success, it's really hard. So first of all, congratulations. It's really hard. Like, people say that, but know that from the depths of my soul, I understand how insanely difficult it is and how many sacrifices you've had to make personally to make even this happen. And this is kind of the trap that I think everybody falls into. It never feels like enough. It never really feels like what you've done is enough, or that it always feels like what you could be doing is more. There's always a next level. There's always a next stage. And this is true for $100 million companies. It's actually especially true for them. But for billion-dollar companies, like whatever it is, there's always something that you're chasing. But of course, like, you know, when you're running that small business and when you are in a place where your effort, you know, the success of your business is determined by your effort. It's just a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure on you personally. And it's very emotionally taxing. And I mean, it sounds like you have a great team, so that's wonderful. 8 people. It doesn't sound like a lot to many people, but when you are everybody's boss and the emotional labor that goes into being everybody's boss, it can be extremely daunting, and it taxes your own emotional energy. And we only have so much. As somebody who, you know, ran the company that I did, had 2 children in the middle of it, lost a parent to a cancer battle in the middle of it, there's so much balance that goes into it. And I think that what a lot of entrepreneurial spirited people have in mind or in common, I think, is the work is very fulfilling to us, and work can really matter a lot and actually help us through anything that you're going through personally. So I think that I'm just sort of clocking that you're a person, right, with like a life outside of this company, and that, you know, the burnout that you're feeling is definitely in part having to do with the rest of your life. So I have 2 really solid pieces and tangible pieces of advice, and then I have some other thoughts that I want to go through with you. One is get a therapist. Oh my God, get a therapist. I don't know that you have like personal trauma you need to work through. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But I found somebody, I actually did, but that's just me. But I found somebody who I was able to actually also talk about work stuff with, and the emotional labor of managing other people and how taxing that was on me psychologically. So there's that. Now, if like you're not gonna go to like a marriage family therapist, you just don't think that's the right route, I encourage you to look at a coach. And that's actually my second. I think you should get both a coach and a therapist. But if you're just like not a therapy kind of person, then definitely get a coach, an executive coach. You might think that you don't deserve one, need one, because you're a small business owner, and you're like, am I executive? I'm not like a corporate, C whatever. That's exactly what you need. You need someone to your burdens with, and you need somebody who's had experience specifically being an entrepreneur, to talk through your business decisions with. A lot of times you'll fall into a trap that I think a lot of entrepreneurs do, or small business owners and operators do, where you're the person in the room that's supposed to know everything. There's not really a counterpart to you, I'm assuming, at your company that you can share burdens with. And if there's not, then that's actually one of the things that you should work with your executive coach on is, how to elevate somebody on your team so that they can share some of the pressures that you are feeling with in a much more dynamic way, in a much more executive way. It really changes the game. But you need help. You really do need somebody to walk through that with you. That changed everything for me. Everything. And I will give you the number of my executive coach because she was fabulous. So, DM me. Okay, so those are my very specific, do these things right now kind of things. But then I have some other ideas and thoughts for you that maybe your executive coach might even walk you through, where you can talk to them about it. I'm just going to go ahead and assume from here on out that you will absolutely get an executive coach, because I think it's very, very necessary. What the work that your coach should help you do, and your therapist, hopefully both, is helping you understand what is actually a priority and what isn't. And how to compartmentalize the different parts of your business, so that you can run them more effectively, but that you can also start removing your kind of personal anguish with some of the tasks that go with it. I found that people procrastinate important tasks because, one, they're not important, or two, they just don't like doing them, right? It's just not something that you are good at, that you like to do. It's annoying, whatever it is. These are the reasons why people try to avoid these things. So when you're trying to figure out, can I delegate these things? And or is this a priority? Right? And you should probably switch those around and figure out, is this a priority? And then if it is a priority, am I the person that has to do it? Okay? And it's not a simple thing to do, but here's kind of a quick exercise, and this is a really high level answer to it. And I get in much more to it with some of my programs, but you can also talk to an executive coach if you get one about this. But I do something, and people have different kind of exercises. There's start, stop, begin exercises. Google it, look it up if you don't know what that is. But I like to do something, especially, and I like to include my team. If it's not, since it's a small enough team, you probably can get away with including everyone. If not, at least include your core folks who are a little more involved at high level strategy with the business, with you. And if it's only one or two, then it's only one or two. But get other folks involved in the business who know your business well, or who you at least want to elevate to getting to know your business well, even if they're not quite here right now in the moment. But this is a really good habit to do, frankly, quarterly, but certainly annually with your team, is to make a wish list. You make a dream wish list of not only the things that you're doing right now and the projects that you guys are working on, the product strategy that you're going for, the things that you are doing, the initiatives that you're taking on. And you can organize it however makes sense to you. Everybody has kind of a different vernacular or kind of way. But I think you understand about it's like, what are the objectives? You might be really organized and have your goals, documented someplace really well. And if you don't, this is a really good exercise to do to kind of get you started and getting your goals aligned across your company. But what you need to do is kind of write down everything that you guys are doing. And then in addition, and it can all be in the same kind of list, write down what you want to do. Like if you had all the budget in the world, if you had no constraints on time or resources or just, you could really accomplish all the things that you wanted to do, what are those things that you want to do? You guys can get as detailed as you want about this. Because basically the first time around in the first draft is really to kind of discuss the list and understand, should this really be on here or is this too detailed? Or can we group these things together a little bit and say, maybe it's like a really specific change that one client wants. Can we group that together into, other kinds of features that are part of a larger group? So that's the first part of the exercise. You guys get together and you look at this list and you make a complete list. What I would like to do is I had a marketing person and, someone in sales and someone in operations. So I would have them ahead of the meeting prepare their own wish list, prepare their own, this is what I'm doing now list, and then prepare their own wish list. And then we would come together as a group. So from each department, we would put this master list together and we would see where there's overlap and where there's not. Excuse me. And so once you do that, you really look at, not only, wow, look at all the stuff that we're doing. And then here's all the stuff that we want to do. So for both sides of the list, the next step of the process is to categorize your kind of final list, your current tasks and your wish list tasks into simple grade of high, medium, low. What is a high priority, what's a medium priority, and what's a low priority? And decide that in your group what that criteria is. What's the criteria to be a high priority? What's the criteria to be medium? What's the criteria to be low? A simple way, or at least a really straightforward way, is just how is it tied to revenue? How is it tied to today's revenue, this quarter's revenue? Are we going to lose revenue or make revenue from this idea? That's an easy way to get you in high. But there might be other reasons. A lot of businesses do have other reasons. So, it's very particular, and also why this is great when it's facilitated by a coach that can kind of guide your company through this and kind of have that outside view so that you're not, just so have that group think. I think especially small teams tend to have group think and they forget to kind of see the forest for the trees sometimes. So anyway, back to the exercise. You're grading them high, low, and medium. And you're also writing notes. And I think what goes into high, low, medium is that is this even possible? Right? Since we wrote a wish list, what are the resources that we're missing to get this one done? Right? And it's important to do that after high, medium, or low, because it can help you identify that it's actually this is really important and we need to dedicate some investment, hire a new person, whatever it is. We need to make this thing happen. And we've been putting it off, but it's actually extremely important. So grade it first, high, medium, low. Then think about what resources that you need. And then start organizing those tasks into a timeline. What can be done? What is doable right now? And if there's no resources or if it's in progress, and you can come up with your own vernacular again around this. Call it in progress, call this whatever it is. But essentially, this is how you build a roadmap. This is a business roadmap. You're turning your wish list and your current tasks into a timeline of when you can actually accomplish these things. There are requirements for each one of these projects and initiatives that you'll have to go through. right? And so you might not be able to get through this entire exercise in one meeting. What we would do at Social Intelligence is we would do 2 days sort of annual leadership retreat. And we'd go through this exercise. And the first day, we'd really get the wish list refined. And then the next day, we'd go into not exactly an executionary plan, but a little bit more of okay, what are the requirements? If these are the high projects, what are the requirements for these projects? What do we need to do to make them happen? What's the LOE? What's the level of effort? How long is it going to take us? Can we accomplish this year? Can we accomplish it this quarter? The next day, the second day, we would really get into the details of those things, of how to make those things happen. And now this is again a project that, like, if you are like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to organize that, get a coach, like get a facilitator. But you really do need to start getting into a habit of really relentlessly prioritizing. I talk about that a lot. The projects that your team does, because the way that you feel burdened and overwhelmed isn't going to just go away. I can't just tell you go take a vacation and come back and you'll feel better. It doesn't work that way. And first of all, you're an entrepreneur. There's no such thing. You won't be able to go on vacation, and I know that. I do think you should take a vacation, but I also want to be realistic about when you get back, there you are. And sometimes the only way out is through. And so you have to get through this. You will feel like this again. Don't give up. This is one of those patches where you have to figure out how to level up your business in a sustainable way. And the procrastination, the clog that you're experiencing isn't just going to magically work itself out unless you start really relentlessly prioritizing what your company is doing and what you are doing with your own personal time. So the next evolution in the exercise is to do this for yourself. And that's where that therapist comes in. So I'll leave you with that. Hopefully that was helpful, guys. It's one of my favorite exercises to do. It's something that I work through with my clients, as well as in my online course program. So stay tuned for more on that. Thank you so much for joining my session of Inbox Zero, where I help you unclog those business decisions that are clogging up your mental inbox. I'm Bianca Lager. I'll see you next week.